Hey, it's NPR's Book of the Day. I'm Andrew Limbong. Illia Ponomarenko is probably one of the most prominent journalists to come out of the war in Ukraine. Yeah, he used to be a reporter for the Kyiv Independent, but I mostly encountered his work on X, formerly Twitter. He's got a memoir out now detailing what the war has been like. It's titled, I Will Show You How It Was. And in this interview with NPR's Scott Simon, they talk about the early days of the war and how a lot of Ukrainians didn't think it'd actually happen. But they also talk about the future, about continuing to live in Bucha, a city that suffered massive loss and death, and about whether or not Ukraine can afford to continue fighting. That's after the break.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from Doubleday, publishers of Lessons in Chemistry. Be inspired. Read Lessons in Chemistry, the #1 global bestseller with more than 6 million copies sold. Meet Elizabeth Zott, a 60s-era scientist who brings her smarts and unapologetic worldview to a TV cooking show that has the power to change lives. Lessons in Chemistry is available wherever books are sold from Doubleday.
Illia Ponomarenko turned 30 years old in 2022 just as Russian forces attacked Ukraine. He was a reporter for the new Kyiv Independent, had much to cover, but he also drove his mother from the Donbass to the home of the parents of his new girlfriend, Natalia, to ask two people he had never met, "Can you take care of my mom? I don't know for how long." He then returned to Kyiv to report on the war and stories of survival among people struggling not just to stay alive, but to fight back before the eyes of the world, even as the world started to look away. Illia Ponomarenko has written a memoir of the war so far. I Will Show You How It Was, the story of wartime Kyiv. It covers much blood, suffering, and loss, but also courage, ingenuity, and heroism. He joins us now from Bucha, Ukraine. Thanks so much for being with us.
Hello, thank you for having me.
And I guess we should explain, first off, Natalia's parents didn't need to be convinced much, did they?
They absolutely did not, even though I'm not even sure they even knew her daughter had actually a boyfriend. So that was a moment of unification in a terrible hour of wartime, but at the same time of warmth and welcoming embraceness by people who never knew you before.
You suggest in this memoir that a lot of Ukrainians, including many in the government, didn't take the threat of war very seriously. How so?
It's true. Partially it's because of very natural human characters that we do not want something ugly to happen to us. The hope dies last. But also the more we knew about what Kremlin is and how much they put on intimidation and extortion, on fear-mongering too, it seemed to be so absurd, so doubtful, and so unreasonable that you actually ask a question, are they stupid enough to do it?
Of course, a lot of people considered experts were predicting Kyiv would fall within a few days. What happened?
They ended up being absolutely wrong about the Ukrainian ability to fight, the Ukrainian willingness to stay independent and fight for their country, and to keep their military as an organized force. The Ukrainian military managed to counter the first strike, so the initial plan failed within 24 hours, essentially.
You know, much of your memoir gives us glimpses of the acts of everyday heroes. Could you tell us about some of those people?
Yeah, this is a story about so many people who were doing incredible things and discovering a lot of incredible things about themselves too. When it comes to what do you do in the middle of the largest military attack that Europe has seen since World War II, essentially. What do you do when it's about your life, your nation, your own destiny, your own future, your own kids? So many people of very ordinary walks of life, they were helping the military, cooking meals, and many people were becoming sort of civilian volunteers to provide medicine or essentials to war-affected zones in outskirts of Kyiv. Music stars, we had hip-hop musicians holding up their arms and singing songs in the middle of Kyiv as they were patrolling the city with the police force. So it was so much unity, so much hope in the situation when so many people were living next to the feeling that this is the finest hour, and we're probably not going to make it out of this.
Yeah. You mentioned the number of weddings. Why so many weddings?
Many people were thinking like, hell, why not? Why not today? If tomorrow never comes for us, let's get married. Many people also decided to change their lives completely, like turn into soldiers, essentially abandoning their civilian profession, like being a radio host. Yeah, popular radio hosts, they decided, to hell with this. We go to the recruitment center and we enlist.
Mr. Ponomarenko, you are in Bucha now. And of course, a ghastly massacre took place there in April of 2022. 458 bodies, I guess, have been recovered now. Many seem to have been executed with their hands bound during Russian occupation. What's life like in Bucha now?
When we were getting back to Bucha following Russian withdrawal, we saw all those things that you could see on pictures, bodies, signs of atrocities, graves. It was this touch of evil. Something evil, really evil happened in there. You could feel it in the air. And I remember many of our colleagues, particularly from Western media outlets, saying that this place was cursed forever. But it never happened. Shortly after the Ukrainian military gave permission for civilians, for everybody to get back, tens of thousands of cars rushed back with insane traffic jams to Bucha. And the springtime came, the sunshine, moms got back to parks with their babies. Life got back immediately. And I can definitely tell you that it's the best place to live in entire Kyiv metropolitan area. In many ways, to me, Bucha, as I walk in the streets right now, is the sign of resurrection from war and the victory of life over death, which is essentially what this war is about.
Can Ukraine afford to go on fighting?
It cannot by itself, of course. There are not many nations in this world who could afford to fight such a large war against such a powerful enemy, which is so abundant in its resources and moreover so merciless towards their own people in terms of the spending of manpower. It's something that needs support from other democracies, from other free nations.
Do you ever think about leaving?
When things go to the survival of the entire nation, your love grows stronger when you are about to lose it. After everything that has happened, after everything that has been sacrificed for this country, and are far from being alone in this, we do not want another country. We do not want another homeland. We do not have another homeland. We are here in Ukraine. It's the only country that we want to live in. I love every corner of it, and my love grows stronger because of this war, due to this war. So I absolutely do not want to leave.
Illia Ponomarenko's memoir, I Will Show You How It Was, The Story of Wartime Kyiv. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Last year, over 20,000 people joined the Body Electric study to change their sedentary, screen-filled lives. And guess what?
We saw amazing effects.
Now you can try NPR's Body Electric Challenge yourself. Listen to updated and new episodes wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Sony Pictures Classics presenting Run, Lolo, Run. On June 7th, the groundbreaking, high-octane cinematic sensation returns to theaters in magnificent 4K. Don't let Lola pass you by. Get tickets now at runlolorunfilm.com. This message comes from NPR sponsor KeyBank. At KeyBank, they're dedicated to helping their clients succeed by delivering expert-driven insights on trends that matter. Find out what's forecasted in healthcare and sustainability, how to navigate future economic conditions and technology trends, and how to protect yourself against cybersecurity threats. Head to key.com/trending topics to get a look into their insights or speak to a banker today.